Today's video, we're going to talk about keto for treating mood disorders and bipolar. And my friend Lauren is here. She's going to talk about her experience. And we're also just going to talk about keto and what it is. So, Lauren, thank you so much for being here. Hi, friends. It's Jess with Our Bipolar. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, just a little bit about me. I have bipolar 1, and I was diagnosed 25 years ago when I was a sophomore in college. And we're going to have Lauren tell about her diagnosis now.
I've been diagnosed by several different psychiatrists a few different times. So I have been diagnosed with soft bipolar twice. I've been diagnosed with an unspecified mood disorder. I was diagnosed major depressive disorder and generalized anxiety disorder. Unfortunately, it's very unclear. So I kind of just go with an unspecified mood disorder. It kind of, you know, doesn't meet full criteria for full blown bipolar 1 or 2, but I also don't meet criteria for just major depressive disorder. So I am treated similarly to bipolar disorder.
So let's talk about keto. I don't know a lot about keto. So if you can describe keto, like for someone who doesn't know anything about it and why you were, why it can treat a mood disorder.
So just basic ketogenic diet is a very, very high fat diet, low carb, medium protein. And if you think about how medications are prescribed with different dosages, right? We're all on different dosing dependent on our symptoms. That's similar to how they use keto for, mood disorders. So if we take it out of like the realm of the fad diet of weight loss and we're using it for medical purposes, if you decided to go on keto diet, you would have your own ratio, they call it. For example, I'm on a 2-to-1 ratio. That means that I am on 2 grams of fat per 1 gram of carbs down the rabbit hole. That's basically my, we could say dose of fat to protein and carbohydrate ratio. But again, overall, it's a very, very high fat diet. If you ask me 4 ago if this was a healthy diet, or ever think that this amount of fat is healthy per se. I was eating, higher proteins, moderate carb, a little bit of pasta, rice, and then vegetables for a lot of my meals. I thought that was very healthy. It turns out for people, and I'm not going to speak for everybody, but people who have mood disorders, we're learning that mood disorders may be metabolic disorders of the brain. So just like metabolic disorder, diabetes, or, anything like metabolic related high blood pressure, maybe it's important to treat mental illness similarly as if we had diabetes or, high blood pressure. So this is coming from me reading up on this. And I'll give you guys some of that information maybe later. I'm not an expert in keto. This is just what I've kind of extracted from the experts that are out there in the field.
Right. And so, can you run us through like a typical day, like what you were eating, like in describing this high fat diet?
So I do a lot of, for me, the only way to really do this is to meal prep. So right now, I spend most of my Sundays doing it. So it is very extensive if you're using it for mental illness and not like the fad diet of weight loss. So let's say I want to make eggs, that I'm going to eat eggs for breakfast 5 days a week. So I have an actual keto diet calculator, and I work with a dietitian who works with mood disorders. So she gives me this specific calculator. Think of it almost like a spreadsheet. That's the easiest way to describe it for me. And I'll put in eggs, butter, berries. I'll put my food into the calculator, and then I will manipulate it so that the grams of eggs or the grams of butter, the grams of strawberries meet my ratio. So you're
Mhm.
playing with the amounts of fat to meet my 2-to-1 ratio. So let's say I want eggs with bacon and berries and avocado. I'll put all of those ingredients into my calculator, and then I'll manipulate it so it's like 50 grams of eggs, 10 grams of berries, 100 grams of butter. Okay. And then I weigh everything out on a gram
Mhm.
scale and I
Okay.
cook it. So that's kind of, but like food wise, you're looking at lots of butter. I use a lot of butters. I use a lot of cream cheese. There's keto mixes. There's like a mix called Keto Cal. Um, lots of cream cheese. So anything fat, avocados, MCT oil, olive oil. I know there's been a lot of talk about how seed oils are really not healthy, but they are a source of fat. So I do use those. I try to use them sparingly. And I try to buy, my fat sources as like organic or as, healthy as possible. But it is
Mhm.
like if you look in my refrigerator right now, Jess, I have butter galore. Like I go through probably anywhere between 8 to 12 sticks of butter in my meals for 7 days. So the highest amount of like from the food groups is fat. Then I would say the next is proteins. So red meats like high fat steaks, chicken, eggs. What other protein sources? Just trying to think.
Like yogurt, like Greek yogurt, maybe?
You could, yeah, you want to be careful about sugars and anything really that you put it in your calculator, the calculator tells you how much of that food you can eat. So if I'm going to eat yogurt or add it to a meal, I'm probably going to look at a yogurt that doesn't have any sugars,
Yeah.
um, like anything added to it, very plain, basic foods.
So what if you like, I mean, are you able to have like snacks or junk food or like treats at all?
So you can have snacks, but they have to be keto snacks and it has to be within your ratio basically.
Yeah.
So I make like little fat bombs. I'll make like a cheesecake fat bomb or carrot cake fat bomb. So basically it's like cream cheese with carrots or nuts you could put in there, and as long as it meets your ratio of that 2 grams of fat per, 1 gram of carbs plus protein, you can totally eat it. But if you cheat on it, let's say you want a bag of chips, you're going to be completely out of ketosis. So it
Yeah.
is it is difficult. It's not an easy diet to get on, but once you're on it, I will say last summer I was on the diet for 4 months. I started fully in April and I got off the diet due to pregnancy in September. And I was barely weighing my food anymore. I knew what I could and cannot eat. I could kind of eyeball, even out at a restaurant. Like, definitely easier to go to a steak restaurant over like an Italian place because, you're going to want the pasta, of course. But I could kind of eyeball, okay, I know how much of a steak I could eat. I asked for extra butter. There's, websites that are making the keto diet as easy as possible. So they have like little packets of oil. I bring it in my purse, go out to dinner, put the oil, on my meal. And I started getting it to a place where I actually enjoyed my food and I wasn't really missing my old diet. But getting onto it, it is a very difficult thing. And I think just like having a mood disorder in general, you want to find people that are maybe doing this same type of metabolic treatment as well for that support.
Definitely. It's something I know I've talked to you about. It's not something I'm interested in doing right now. I mean, just being honest, but it is something I know that maybe in the future I will have to change medications and go off lithium, which has been really like a lifesaver for me. And who knows how I'm going to do on this other med. There's really only like one mood stabilizer left that I haven't tried. And, it has to work. And if it doesn't, or it doesn't work as well, I need something like keto in my back pocket. And I'm kind of not looking forward to that day if that day ever comes, but it's great to have that option. I mean, I'm very thankful for people like you who have tried this and it did help. So let's talk more about your experience while you were on it. What kind of changes did you see in your mood? How long did it take to see the changes?
Yeah, so good question. I definitely, I'll tell you first a little bit of background about my illness when I was interested in getting on the keto. Unfortunately for me, and I know sometimes when I hear this, I get nervous. So I don't want to like instill fear in anybody. But from my experience, and this is not everyone's experience, the medications alone were just not doing it enough for me. I mean, I was having every other day would still be a bad day. I tried several medications. I mean, granted, the illness started for me September of 2021. So we're going on, I believe, 3 years with the illness. So it's
Mhm.
not like I've been dealing with this for 10 years and, no medication has worked. But my illness is extremely severe. And I was exhausted of like trying this, upping that, reducing this. So when I found out about this diet, I was like, all right, this is something that may help. I would be stupid not to try it with all the days that I have that are still bad days. And when I say bad, it's extremely depressed, anxious to a point that I can't even like sit still. So I totally get what you're saying. Like the more tools we have in our back pocket along with the medication, hey, I'll take what I can get.
Definitely.
So I would say I was having prior to the diet at least 2 bad days a week of either low mood or anxiety to the point of like not being able to sit still. At least 2 days.
Mm.
By week 2 of being fully on this diet, I mean every meal, every snack keto, I wasn't having days that I was like debilitated or, couldn't like function. I was a bad day would be, I'm not really enjoying things as best that I know that I can. But from 2 weeks to the day that I stopped the keto, I had not had a debilitated day. I had not had severe depression. My anxious days were not nearly as bad as they were. So, did I come off meds? No. Am I thinking that this could be like a cure? Hey, I don't know. I didn't get to that point. But was I having debilitated days? Absolutely not. Every day I was functional. I could plan my life again. I wasn't able to plan my life because I didn't know when the next episode was going to start. So it was like constant living in fear. I'm not saying it's fully reduced, like that I'm just totally, great and fine, but being on the diet and not, going off of it or having any type of cheating and like I taking your blood, knowing your ketone levels, I will tell you, not having any days that were horrible.
Wow. I mean, that's amazing. So you do test your blood for ketosis?
So when I was fully on the diet, which I am working back up to since being pregnant,
Mm.
I'm not pregnant anymore, but I had the baby. It's been tough to like get back on the diet. But when I was on the diet, I would prick my finger with the ketone blood monitor thing, similar to somebody that has diabetes would do. And you have your blood glucose monitor and blood ketone monitor, and it tells you where your ketones are. Let's say you're not having as much success as you'd like to. That's going to tell you, or if you're working with a dietitian, hey, maybe we need to increase the ratio, just like you would increase medications if you're still having symptoms.
Okay. And how did you find your dietitian, like someone who works with mood disorders?
So, Chris Palmer, I'm sure maybe you've heard of him. He wrote that book, Brain Energy.
Oh, I've heard of the book, but I didn't know
Yes.
the author. Okay.
Dr. Chris Palmer, he's a psychiatrist. You could, look into him. He's a wealth of information. I read his book and he worked with a client. The last name's Bazuki. I'm blanking on the first name of the
Yes. I can't think of his first. I know him. I've watched videos about his experience. Yeah.
Yes, yes. The family, I believe they own Roblox. So they tried, various psychiatrists, like you're an owner of Roblox, I'm sure you have the financial means to do whatever it takes for your kid.
Right.
And I guess nothing was working as well as they wanted it to. They started working with Chris Palmer and their son is in remission and, still on the diet. So I read about that and just kind of started looking into it. The Bazuki kid worked with my dietitians.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
yes, and it's called Advanced Ketogenic Therapies. And Denise Potter, she also has Instagram. She leads the company, and now I know they have several dietitians. My dietitian, Stephanie Kreitisser, I might be saying her last name wrong, but she's been nothing short of amazing. Very, very supportive. She knows how hard the diet is to get on. And she's been supporting me like through getting on the diet, off the diet, through the pregnancy, recommended for me not to be on the diet during the pregnancy. It's a
Mm.
very potent treatment. It's like medications. Actually, a few weeks ago, I tried to get fully back on the diet. And I went into it too quickly. That's why I would recommend if you're interested in the diet, get a dietitian that works with mental illness and, keto, because it could be very dangerous if you go on it too quickly or, it's a shock to your body. I actually had like 24 hours of like vomiting because I tried to get on the diet too fast.
I see. That makes sense too. That makes a lot of sense. So, this dietitian, is she covered by insurance?
Not as of now. I know that they have been looking at that. I also follow and I've done trainings through Nicole Laurent. She does a lot of ketogenic trainings for practitioners. So I have my license in counseling. Ironic, right? If you asked me 6 years ago if I was going to get a mental illness, I would be like, I work with mental illness. No way. But this things happen. So I've done a training with Nicole Laurent, and I remember her talking about, this is something that the field of metabolic psychiatry is trying to get toward, having the ketogenic dietitians like covered through insurance because they know that it could help.
Yeah. And so, can you tell us, I mean, just ballpark, like how expensive is it to hire a dietitian?
So with advanced ketogenic therapies, they have all different packages. Because I have 3 kids and I have a husband that's, works like crazy, I don't have a ton of support. So I chose the highest package where I can literally get on my phone right now and message her through an app, and she's going to respond to me within an hour. I can't be exact of what I pay her per month, but my package is 2 hour sessions, I believe, per month, and then full access to the like kind of program I was telling you about, that ketogenic calculator. That's
Right.
included. And
Okay.
then having her like on call for questions and help. I want to say I pay her like 300 a month for all of that service.
Okay. Obviously, for some people, that would not be possible, or they maybe would need like a lower package. But I mean, if you're paying a psychiatrist once a month, I mean, I don't know about, I pay mine out of pocket because he doesn't take insurance, and it's more than that.
Yep.
So, you know,
Yep. Yeah. I see mine
but
every 2 weeks right now, my psychiatrist.
maybe cost prohibitive for some people, and it maybe not, but it is great to know that it's out there, and maybe there are other dietitians who are treating mood disorders in this way, but maybe they, cost a little less. I mean,
Right.
have to do some
And
research.
Exactly. And I think as this gets more funding and studies out there and all of that, I know that it has been a push to try to get insurance to cover it. I will
Yeah.
say I have a client in therapy right now with me who does this diet on his own. Um, and I give him a ton of credit. You can do it on your own. There's a website, it's called, I'll send it to you after our recording.
And I'll put it in the description box. Yeah.
Okay, I can't think of it. The Charlie Foundation, that's what it's called.
Okay.
If you have the time and the motivation and, wherewithal to do this on your own in a safe way, it's possible. But I would think that it's very difficult. But I have this client, he does it by himself. He needs to be in a lower, like for my illness, I need to be in a higher level of ketosis to see effects.
Okay.
For somebody that doesn't have it as severe, minor functioning depression, or just, bipolar that's like more manageable with lower doses of meds, maybe it's more possible. But for the severity of my situation, it's been very helpful. And I'm very grateful that I have, the means to have that type of support from the dietitian.
Yeah. I think myself, just thinking if I were to do it, I would definitely want that support, at least in the beginning until I felt very comfortable with the
Right.
diet. I mean, I don't feel comfortable even talking about the diet. It just like, but I know I have heard some people say like it was impossible. I couldn't do it. I'm wondering if those are people who did it without support. You're saying it was very hard, but you did get to the point where you could do it and you actually
Yeah.
enjoyed it.
Yes. And this is from somebody who, and my mom's in the background here, like walking through my house, but she knows I love sweets. Okay. There's not a week that I went without my ice cream with sprinkles. I love carbs. Like I've been healthy through my life, like with food and stuff, but I definitely didn't deprive myself of, food that I wanted to eat. And I did get to a point like my whole family, I cook for everybody. Nobody else is on this diet in my house. It's just me. And I eat what they eat, but in a different way. So let's say we're making pizza, like homemade pizza. I try to do like pizza night once a month. There is a way to make a ketogenic pizza. I mean, it's different than regular pizza, but everyone in my house was like, "Oh, that smells so good. I want to try it." I'm like, "Well, you can't because I have to eat the whole thing." But I got to a point where didn't miss my ice cream. You can make things that taste completely great. I mean, it's a learning curve because I remember in the beginning, I'm cooking these meals and then I'm not like meeting the ratio. So then I'm like pouring random amounts of butter onto my food and you're like, oh, like eating like all this fat that's not cooked within the meal. So it's a learning curve for sure, but it is absolutely possible to do it and get to a place where you're not weighing things, you're not looking at your calculator, you're going out to dinner with your family or like you're enjoying your life. Um,
Yeah.
I've I haven't done, I'm trying to think about like one of the biggest things for me is vacationing. So, I haven't like left the country and had to do this diet, but I mean, I've been on vacations and have like taken my food or been able to like meal prep in a room or whatever. It's possible to do it. But if you can and you're interested in it, I would highly recommend having the support of a dietitian if it's, if you're able to do that.
Yeah. The only thing that I wonder about for me personally, and there may be other people in this situation. So I've been on lithium for 17 years and I'm starting to have very slight kidney dysfunction. Like we're talking, I'm going to go see a nephrologist and start doing that. But the nephrologists are probably going to kind of like laugh me out of the room because it's so minor.
Mhm.
But I know there was a time when I was trying, I have gained weight on Seroquel. We've talked about this.
Yes.
And I was trying to up my protein and it was affecting my kidney dysfunction. It was making it worse, slightly. And so my doctor said, stop with the high protein. So I'm wondering, would that mean possibly that I couldn't do keto? I mean, I
So,
don't know.
right. I don't even want to hypothesize the answer because I
Yeah.
could be completely wrong.
Yeah.
That's where, you want to have this team around you of the dietitian, the psychiatrist, medical doctor that, manages the side effects. Because the bottom line is, thank God for our meds. Like, thank God. But every medication has some type of side effect. Now, what I do know for sure is that the keto does mitigate the effects, the side effects of many medications. Does it mitigate all of them? I don't know. I noticed for me, hair loss, tons and tons of hair loss when I got on the diet. Now, was it the diet? Was it, vitamins that I was taking? I don't know, but my hair did get better. But I don't know if I can attribute it solely to the keto.
Yeah.
But I know that people, even if it doesn't work for their mood, they notice all of these side effects are going away when they're on this diet.
Hmm. That's great to know. I mean, but I think the point is if you're going to try keto and you are on medications for bipolar or a mood disorder, you need to be working with your psychiatrist very
Right.
closely and don't start this diet or, anything really without discussing it with your psychiatrist first. I think
100%.
that is very, very important. And I would never do that either. I did, up my protein without telling my doctor. Not, I thought I was doing something good. I
Fine.
thought I
Yeah.
was like being healthy. And he's like, no, don't do that.
Right. Everyone's body.
So,
Yeah.
things, it can be a
Medication.
struggle, but you can figure it out. And I think this is great information you're giving. Is there anything else you want to say before we kind of wrap things up?
If anybody is interested or has questions or anything, like I'm 100% happy to try to answer them or just be a support because I know how hard it is. If if your medications are working great, you have no bad days, everything's fine, like that is amazing. For those of us who just can't seem to get it under control with just the medications, just know there is hope out there. This is if we have to live with a mental illness, this this is like the best time to have it because people are looking outside the box. I'll once we, get off, I'll give you some of the people that I've looked into and read their books. Georgia Ede is like, she's also a psychiatrist, major proponent of metabolic psychiatry. There's people out there that want to make this better for us, and there's hope. And I've been there where to the point where I could barely walk to my mailbox. I mean, like the immense depressive states are just unbearable. Like, no, I can't even put words to them. And I just can't believe how much changing what I'm putting in my mouth can help. And is it a cure? I mean, not for me. I understand I'm always going to be on some type of medication, but it definitely helps. And I just hope that people know what is out there for them. I think that's the biggest thing. So you're aware of what's there to help, and so that you can make the choice to do what you want to do with that information.
Yeah, I think it's an amazing tool. And even if it doesn't work for everyone or for whatever reason, it is out there. And having something besides meds and lifestyle changes, because as you know, like we both we're like doing all the lifestyle changes. Like
Right,
we're taking the meds, we're doing all the things. Sometimes it's not enough. It
right.
just really isn't. So, I mean, I could see myself going this way in the future. And then I will be reaching out to you to talk about this a lot. But first, before we wrap up, tell everyone where they can find you if they do have questions.
So I have an Instagram called Life with a Mood Disorder. You can reach me on there. I have a almost 5 month old, so it's been crazy. So I really am more on my personal Instagram, which is LG Conti, LGCONTEY. Either one, you can reach out to me anytime. Hopefully in the future, when things die down, I can get back to like more, advocacy on my mood disorder page. But, it's been really hard with everything going on and managing my, brain dysfunction as well.
Yeah. And I'll put all of this information down in the description box as well. So thank you so much for
Of
coming
course.
on and talking about this. I love having people on when they can talk about something that I have just no experience with and I can't. And, we've been talking about doing this for so long, but of course you were having baby and still busy with a newborn baby. So I just thank you so much for taking the time out to
Of
do
course.
this.
Thank
Yeah,
you for having me, and thank you for supporting me through the pregnancy and talking to me about the Seroquel and just everything.
of
I
course.
appreciate it so much.
Course. I'm not going to cry again about it. But anyway, thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.